This is Valley News Live at 5.
Hello again, everyone. Fire has damaged several apartments and 3 businesses in Wadena, Minnesota. It happened just off Main Street just after 11:15 this morning. For a time, there were flames coming out of the 2nd floor of the building. 7 apartment unit tenants were displaced and being helped by the American Red Cross.
I'm incredibly thankful for all the community help and just everybody.
The cause of that fire is under investigation. Some discoveries in the search for Brian Laundrie today. We are learning that what appears to be partial remains have been found in an area of Florida that was previously underwater. Now, some items belong to Laundrie. The remains were located near a backpack consistent with items that he had been carrying.
It's likely the team will be on scene for several days. I know you have a lot of questions, but we don't have all the answers yet. We are working diligently to get those answers for you.
Brian Laundrie has been missing for weeks. His girlfriend, Gabby Petito, was found strangled to death in Wyoming last month. Laundrie has not been charged in her death. However, he remains a person of interest in this case. I guess we can't complain too loudly about today's weather. I'm hearing a year ago there was quite a bit of snow on the ground. Let's find more about what's going on tonight from Hutch.
Mike, thanks so much, and good evening, everyone. In the 5 o'clock hour, we have clouds here in the Fargo area and sprinkled drops from time to time. That's about it, but for our neighbors to the south, it's a wet day, and up north, we're starting to see some breaks in those clouds, which is going to lead to some mighty cold temperatures that we've been talking about all week. Here's a look at the radar, and where you see the blues out to the west and south central North Dakota, not far from Lemoore County there, and well, maybe even into Dickey County at times. That's evidence of snow. Now, we've been keeping our eyes on the cameras out there, and I'm not seeing any snow making its way down to the ground. We have good old-fashioned rain. A closer look showing most of it is along Highway 10 and points south. Where you see the yellows and oranges here, that's more focused, moderate rain shower activity from Rothsay right through central parts of Richland County, through Wyndmere and toward Gwinner. And rainfall estimates of this area are already upwards of 0.6 of an inch, with a couple more hours of moderate rainfall likely. At that forecast we talked about, 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain in that area. Certainly on track. Temperatures right now, coldest down in Oaks, 37, 43 in Thief River Falls, 47 this hour in the Fargo-Moorhead area. As we have the clear skies just up to the north of us that are going to provide us with some chilly readings tonight. Sprinkle chances early, then decreasing clouds and wind as we go through the late night hours. It looks like we're on our way to the 20s. Mike, I'll have details on what you can expect in your hour-by-hour forecast here in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Hutch. The Fargo Liquor Control Board is recommending the transfer of the liquor license of the Africa nightclub to the building's owner, who is now commercial realtor Tyler Brandt. The approval isn't complete, however. Fargo Assistant City Attorney Nancy Morris said the Africa nightclub and Brandt have an agreement to transfer, but it could be a few months before Brandt has the details worked out. Because of the short amount of time, Brandt had to put together a plan for the establishment, and the transfer is conditional. The board will review them in then the next few months when the details are worked out.
Speaking to the applicant before the meeting, it's their intention to name that top-notch manager first, and then decide what that bar-restaurant combination will look like, what that operation will be.
If the Liquor Control Board approves Brandt's plans, the matter would then move on to the full City Commission for its consideration. A Moorhead man is under arrest, accused of breaking into a car dealership and assaulting someone this morning. It happened just after midnight at a dealership along 30th Avenue South by a Moorhead Holiday gas station. Authorities would later find a person who was assaulted and a man running away. Eventually, police caught and arrested Alfred Thompson. The victim tells us that she suffered a fractured skull and had 8 stitches. A North Dakota man is behind bars after 3 months on the run. 41-year-old Chadwick Frovarp was arrested in Walsh County on multiple charges, including failure to appear on drug charges out of Grand Forks County. A new court date for him has not been set. Assaults on law enforcement in the line of duty increased in the United States last year, that according to the FBI. In Minnesota, nearly 700 officers reported an assault on the job compared to more than 400 the year before. This year's stats show law enforcement deaths are already up more than 50% compared to this time last year, including a Red Lake Nation police officer who was shot and killed in July.
We need to have sort of a common resolve that violence is not acceptable, whether it's against community members or it's against law enforcement or the rule of law.
That report also notes 183 officers have died following medical conditions this year. That includes 169 from illnesses relating to COVID-19. A confessed school shooter pleaded guilty this morning to all charges stemming from the February 2018 massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. The jury will decide if Nicholas Cruz will be sentenced to death or life in prison. He apologized for the massacre today as family members of the victims wiped away tears in the courtroom.
We just do the best we can to get through each day, but each day is very, very painful. Some days like today are especially painful.
14 students and 3 staffers were killed in that attack, making it the deadliest high school shooting in U.S. history. News stories of survival and new questions about that dramatic plane crash yesterday in Texas. 21 people were on board when the plane caught fire outside Houston. Somehow, every one of them survived, most without a scratch. A passenger whose voice was altered for the interview described how it all unfolded.
Going down the runway, and all of a sudden they slammed on the brakes. Things were flying around, and when it finally came to a stop, they just told us to get out, and we unbuckled ourselves and ran because we thought it was going to explode. It was already on fire before we got out of it.
The NTSB is looking for the flight data recorder, and they'll have the opportunity they often don't have in accidents like this. They can interview the surviving passengers and crew members. Here at home, Cass County authorities say they've received multiple reports this week of a scammer identifying themselves as Hunter Nugan. The caller claims to be with the sheriff's office and tells the victim that they have an arrest warrant for failing to appear for jury duty, or they've missed a scheduled appearance. The spoofed number being used is on your screen. Meanwhile, another scam is circulating on Facebook that's targeting people in Roseau, Minnesota. It was in Facebook group. It said a $175,000 reward is being offered to anyone who can identify a person caught on camera who is sexually abusing a teen jogger. The post included a link for you to view the alleged footage, but it would take you to another website that required you to enter your Facebook information. The police say it's a scam. If you did click on this link, you're encouraged to change your password. Members of Congress agreeing it's time for a new internet regulations, as they made apparent during the Facebook whistleblower testimony this month on Capitol Hill. But finding a consensus to fix Facebook is no easy task. Our D.C. Bureau reporter Kristen Casper dives into the conversation from D.C.
Building on recent public attention surrounding social media mishaps, Senator John Thune says there might be some bipartisan change scrolling into view.
One is the push to tear apart secret social media algorithms. With the filter bubble bill, lawmakers aim to make users aware of content manipulation and to require sites like Facebook to include content from outside of a user's search history or interests. Then there's the larger push for moderation transparency. With another bill, a group of senators want to require sites to explain why a user's content has been removed and give them a chance to repeal the decision.
A couple of pieces of legislation, both of which we think kind of get at the heart of this issue, and that is the fact that big tech companies now are moderating the content that people see in a way that is very secret, very opaque.
These bills have bipartisan support, but they aren't the only ideas for Congress to browse. There's talk of creating a new federal agency to oversee the internet and discussions of other disclosure mandates.
It's important to note the last time Congress passed comprehensive internet reform was 25 years ago in 1996. Reporting in Washington, I'm Kristen Casper.
Traditionally, the large tech companies have objected to specific congressional proposals because of the constant evolving industry. Meanwhile, Facebook plans to announce its new name next week. That's according to The Verge, which is a tech news site. The report says the company wants to be known for more than social media. Facebook also owns Instagram and WhatsApp. The move would position all 3 platforms under one brand. This rebranding comes as Facebook faces criticism from regulators around the world over its business practices. A company spokesperson says that they're not commenting on the report, calling it rumor or speculation. Coming up next, an incentive program will pay you to move to Bemidji. We'll hear from someone who decided to make the move.
And out in the Black Hills, some snow on the area roads, but skies are starting to clear out there as South Dakota's shovel trouble happened there. Last year at this time, we had plenty of that in our neck of the woods. Verndale was 7 inches, 5.2 in Lake Park. Here's a photo from that event down in Ortonville. We have cold weather on the way tonight, but none of this nonsense snow. I'll have details.